Today is Sunday, May 7th, 2017. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the listener feedback show for Survivor Game Changers Week 9.
This is actually the listener feedback show.
Yes, it is. That's right.
I said labeled. That because I labeled the recap show listener feedback show. So I'm going to have to put some funky label on this one so they differentiate, I guess, for week 9.
Listener feedback show B.
Part 2. Take 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know.
And we're doing it on Sunday instead of Saturday when we normally do it. But I was traveling and it just didn't work out so
That's
that
right.
we could pull it together. So thanks for your patience, and we're going to get to it.
And happy anniversary, baby.
Yeah, happy anniversary to you, too.
24 years.
27 together, 24 married.
That's right. Woohoo!
Woohoo! That has nothing to do with Survivor or the listener feedback show.
I just
so I don't have a smooth transition. I don't have any transition to Pete. Next up, Pete.
Hey, Joanne and Stacey. This is Pete from Boston calling here. Oh, my God. I got to let out a big woo! Yeah, a doozy-woozy episode, and I just love the strategic gameplay this episode and this season. So let me get into it. First, I got to say, hats off to young blondie Andrea for pulling out that immunity challenge with the dominoes. That challenge, guys, was, I think, from Cole Wrong. I think, if I remember correctly, young Julia won that challenge, and she needed it. And Andrea needed this one, too. And I got to say, hats off to her and Sari for convincing Sarah to blindside Zeke. I thought that was genius there, because clearly Zeke, he was running both sides, and he could have easily found his way to the end of the game. And I think Zeke would have won with his story and all that. There's no doubt in my mind. Great move by those girls. And I'm glad Sarah saved her second vote. I think that's going to come in handy. And now it looks like the tall Sierra, who went from being in a great position, she's still an underdog to me, but it looks like she tells Sarah about her legacy advantage. And I wonder if Sarah will tell her about her vote steal there. You think that's going to come into play, guys? What if Sierra gets voted out and wills it to Sarah? That would be kind of cool next week. I don't know. And Culpepper, I like his game. He's playing low-key, and he saw at that reward. He didn't just look at it as a great reward, but as a way to strategize. And that was a good moment, actually, with him and Zeke talking football, and it almost worked for him and a tie in them. But the girls outsmarted those guys. Got to tip your hat there. And Michaela was Michaela. Didn't see much of her, though, like last week. Just the same old Michaela expression. She's still got no shot at winning. Saw a little more of Aubrey. I love that her and Andrea are working together. What a story that might be if they're at the end somehow. If it's them two and say somehow Sarah. What a final three that could be, guys. And then, I don't know, poor Troy's in. He's getting like no air time. I think him and Michaela, the two that got no chance of winning. And it pains me to say it. What do you think? Oh, and guys, this is my question of the week for you guys. That reward challenge. Remember the Millennial Gen X season last season? I think of the Millennials one that with Figgy and Michelle and Zeke that did that puzzle. And it took, I think, was it an hour? Was this the same amount of time? I don't know if you guys remember. But that was a crazy challenge that I love. Great season, guys. I love it. Woo!
All right. Thanks, Pete. I was watching the Tea with Michaela B channel this week because she put out an episode right after the Survivor episode aired. was there next day. She said it lasted like an hour and a half, that whole challenge. Where they had spent so much time trying to figure out the word. So, the 11-letter word.
Well, weren't they 50 minutes into that when everybody was still just standing there?
Stumped, yeah. And that was her recollection. It's always hard to get times from folks because, one, they don't have a watch, and two, it was a year ago.
Exactly.
So, or roughly, approximately in that neighborhood. So, I think I'm going to go in a different area. I've been mulling this over, Pete. I think actually anyone can win. I think we are at a stage in the game, what do I want to call it? It's like mediocre fight club or pillow fight club. Yeah, this is pillow fight club. Anyone could win at this point. So you got Cirie. Cirie's a heavyweight, and like the Brazilian jiu-jitsu guys say, the Gracies, 20 pounds is the equivalent of a belt, every 20 pounds that you're facing. And Cirie's the only heavyweight out there. So she's got some distinct advantages, and she could actually knock them out.
In your opinion.
Yeah. Well, this is my opinion. Pete asked, so this is totally my opinion. So I think she's punching in a completely different class than the rest of them. But it seems like it's at the point where anyone could potentially win. And we're going to talk a lot, I could tell as I was going through and editing some of the audio, about how different people are playing and what their potential is to win. But I honestly think, given this group, almost anyone could win. Now, some of them have to work a little harder because, like Aubrey's been fighting with both hands behind her back. Every once in a while, she'll loose a bond and do something and, put something together, like how she helped trip up Debbie. But for the most part, she's been completely held back. But that doesn't mean that she couldn't still break away and somehow pull out a win.
Oh, yeah.
It's the way I'm thinking about it.
I think Michaela would have to make some big moves in order to win, and probably Aubrey as well. I wouldn't even mind seeing Aubrey, Cirie, and Michaela at Final 3. They would certainly need to get rid of Sarah and Andrea.
Yeah.
And, of course, all the others. But
yes.
But
here at Pillow Fight Club, where the punches maybe aren't hurting quite as much, I guess I'll give you the whole taking out Zeke thing. That was a pretty good swing. So.
The thing that concerns me is all it takes is one of those girls to flip to the other side. That's just so nerve-wracking.
We're going to talk about flipping a lot.
We are?
Yes, in this listener feedback show.
Okay.
Yeah, flipping is a theme. All right, thanks, Pete. You got us off, got us started, got the gears turning. Next up, we got an email from Tina in Virginia. Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Tina from Virginia, currently working in Indonesia. Oh, wow. What a twist. Plot twist. I love the way the women talked amongst each other, especially during the end of the episode when they were deciding who to vote out. The women were respectful to each other and strategic in their thinking. Andrea, Cirie, Aubrey, Sierra, and Sarah are impressive and all deserving of a win. Cirie is especially impressive. She really knows how to talk with people. I hope she wins. Her story is a good story. There is a theme in her life that will play well for the show. When I'm working with my job, I love having women on my team because there are usually less egos, less gossiping, and a better job gets done. Michaela does need help with her game. Athletic ability will only get you so far in Survivor. You need to work well with others. I know the producers like Michaela, and maybe she'll learn to play better, but she really does need to mature and learn how to compartmentalize her feelings. I'm thinking Ty and Michaela may have a chance to go to the end because they will be considered goats, and they may not get any votes. That's a good point.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I enjoyed watching Zeke, and that being said, I enjoyed most all of the season. I'm loving the new Brad, and I liked his look on the reward. Debbie seemed very angry at Tribal, or is that her normal look? All the best to all the fans, Tina. Yeah, the thing about Debbie, Tina, is that she's always whatever she's pretending to be and the opposite of that at the same time. She's the eternal flip-flopper with who she is. You'll think she hates someone that's there at the final, and then she'll end up voting for them. Or she'll tell you she doesn't drink, but Zeke will be walking up to the Ponderosa as she turns up a bottle of Jack and then hands him the last sip of it, and then reaches for her wine glass. This is Debbie. So, I don't know. Yeah, she did look angry, but I wouldn't say it actually means anything the way her clock ticks.
Because you don't know how much she's putting on her.
Yes.
That's our opinion anyway.
Yeah. Good deal. Thanks, Tina. Thanks for getting that in from Indonesia. Next up, we got audio from Shea.
Hey guys, it's Shea. I literally just finished the show. I'm probably going to have to call back when I have my thoughts more together, but I'm just kind of emotional. It's so hard to remember this is a game and people are trying to win. Like right now, I'm just so angry with Sarah. I was really rooting for her last week when she was making big moves. I really was. I was rooting for her, and I find myself right now just angry, literally angry with her because she seems to just be rolling over, swapping left and right and just blowing with the wind. For a minute, I thought she had like this strategic plan, and it just, I don't know. Like I said, I'm going to have to call back when my thoughts are more together. I'm just so mad at her. I was not ready for Zeke to go, though I knew the chances were big, but I just don't like the way she's playing. I just don't like it. But I know she was trying to win $1 million. I get that, but for some reason, tonight, this particular vote, that doesn't matter to me. I wish she would have been loyal. I just wish she would have been loyal. That's it. That's all. Oh, and seeing Michaela cry, that was tough. That was really tough. I'd really like to know what tugged at her heartstrings so much so that she couldn't help but cry in front of people, which is something you know she surely doesn't do. And then people voting for Ty, I didn't even know Ty was an option. Everybody seemed shocked again. I don't know if I like the way the game's being played now. It's just like every week it's that whole stupid voting block and trust cluster crap that was brought up last year. You just can't count on anyone. And that's a long time to be out there and not be able to count on anyone. I hope somebody else has something better to say than what I said. I'm just too emotional. You guys have a good one, and can't wait to hear what you guys thought. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Shay. She decided to let that stand, so we didn't get another call back.
Well, Michaela said something to the effect of she basically had two people that she trusted out there, and she stabbed one of them in the back. It was as simple as that.
Mm-hmm. And she had just been talking about having to turn her heart off, so she knew that she was also having to deal with the emotions associated with that. So yeah, she gave a pretty decent explanation in her Tea with Michaela B segment this week about that, and how that had just that and how why she is the way she is when she gets to the challenge, because she felt like she couldn't express herself at all in camp, and the only time she gets to burn that aggression off, or burn those feelings off, that energy off, that she's having to tamp down the whole time she's in camp, because there's so few people she can make a connection with and share anything, it's in the challenges, and of course it just sort of boils over at that point, and we get the extremes. Thanks, Shay. I'm sorry that it had you yo-yoing with your feelings there. Next up, we got an email from Shelley in Australia.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. Hope everyone had a happy Star Wars Day. Mm-hmm. Is anyone going to Free Comic Book Day? I don't even know what that is.
It's where you can get a free comic book. You know, on Amazon, we do Amazon Prime, and they have Prime Reading. And as I was flying back today, speaking of comic books, sorry, this is my segue.
Okay.
I had gone into this month's offerings, and they had several Marvel comic books in there. And I really enjoyed the Deadpool edition that they had that I was able to read for free. So I guess that's my free comic. That's not quite what you were asking, Shelley, but
okay.
I definitely enjoyed a free comic today.
Back to Shelley.
Yes.
I'm not sure if I'm remembering correctly, but I think someone was worried about the amount of screen time Sierra Dawn was getting. I don't think that is any indication she wins. Remember, Michelle won Korong, and she got next to no screen time.
Yeah, good point.
Oh, Aubrey wins. The reward challenge was really boring. How did they choose who went up in the chair? Wouldn't it have made more sense to send Ty up instead of Troyzan?
How about, what? I bet you we would have asked that question had we got to do an interview.
Oh, okay now. Oh, please let Andrea be blindsided soon. How is she even on this season? She voted out Zeke for spite, not for strategy. To be honest, I can't even remember her. At this point, I'm hoping either Troyzan or Ty win. The immunity challenge was also boring, but maybe because with all of my binge watching Survivor, it's come up a few times. I'm hoping the game blows up in some people's faces for the stupid move this week.
Oh,
All right,
Shelley's
Shelley.
hoping for some retribution there. All right, here's to Shelley getting some revenge blindside here coming up. Thank you, Shelley. Next up, we got a call from Sophie. Sophie's back.
Hey, this is Sophie from Texas, originally London. I didn't call back the last 2 weeks. I had lots to say, but I was shy, and then I really wished that I did because I also agreed with Shay. I did think that Sarah, while walking out of the tribal council, did give a slight look, just with her eyes, to the jury. And I think that's evident because then she's had so many opportunities to really let everybody know that she's the one who voted Debbie out. Even though Sarah is playing well, I don't want her to win. I'm not warming up to her. I think she's a lot like Amanda, who Poverty won because Amanda was so serious all the time and hardly ever smiled, and that sort of personality is difficult to bond with. Also, I think Sari finishing the obstacle course last week was very drawn out, and it was just to make the losing team feel sympathy for her and compassion, because she is really one of the main last game changer left. And if she was voted out, then what sort of a game really will we be watching? Everybody else is kind of boring. I do like Andrea. I hope Sari and Andrea are in the end. However, I think Andrea will win a challenge next week with the loved ones visit, and then she'll be given the option to take the reward or allow others to go on it. She'll be a hero and let everybody else go on the reward. And I think that she will probably just be voted out just because she is too nice. She is really good at strategizing, and I don't know, I'd be sad to see Andrea leave, but I think people will start targeting her now. So my final three that I would like would be Sari, Andrea, and Michaela. I don't like Michaela, but I would like to see how mad she becomes, because I think the jury would be harsh with her, and I'd like to see how she reacts to their comments. But my fourth person to go to the final would also be Brad, because, I mean, can you imagine if he didn't make it to the end? How Monica would be treating him. You should have done this, you should have done this, I told you this, I told you that. So really, if Brad got to the end, I would like him to do such an amazing speech and job so that Monica wouldn't be biting his ear off. Yeah, I'm getting kind of tired of seeing Sarah flipping constantly. If she was on my team, then I would tell her and Zeke the opposite of whatever my plan was, because they take the information and then they were flipping it all the time. And that just got sort of tiring to watch. I know they're trying to get a name and then get somebody else out, but it was just a bit much in the end. Yeah, happy Zeke left. He can now relax. I heard he only had 2 weeks once he got back from his last game. So, yeah, I think he needs some time to recover and rest. As far as Sierra's beautiful blue nails, they are gel nails. So they last 2 to 3 weeks. They are amazing. They don't chip or peel, and if you don't pick them off, then they will last. So, yeah, go get them, girls. It's a fantastic season. Tribal councils are good. And did anybody else notice the sinister violins playing? The music's been really good. I thought it was kind of funny that they were trying to put such dramatic music every time Sarah was having an interview. She's just so emotionless. She reminds me of the police officers on The Matrix. I don't know, are they called Anderson? Just so, I don't know, emotionless. I'm really looking forward to seeing the family visit and to see if she can smile, if she cries, how she acts. I just want to try to warm up to Sarah, but it's not happening that quick. Take care. I really enjoy everybody's comments, and I'm going to try to do this each week. Bye.
Good job, Sophie. Glad you faced that shyness and got that feedback in.
Yeah, there you go, Shay. Different opinion.
Yeah. You got the agreement there. Got the nod from Sophie.
You know, I don't know
Although it could just be some kind of Arkansas, Texas, agreement, partnership they have.
Okay, Mr. Wonderful. I was going to say, I was thinking, I don't know how Brad would deal with it if Monica's there and he doesn't get to spend time with her. I don't know if he can handle that.
Yeah. Well,
Seriously.
that's why Sophie's detailed prediction very well may come true. so that they can spend time together, that Andrea will sacrifice herself so that Brad can have that time with Monica.
Andrea?
I thought that was very detailed. I just didn't see Andrea sacrificing herself.
I don't know. I wonder who would come out for her. Do you remember
No,
from before?
no
I
clue.
don't remember either. Mike would know.
Speaking of Mike, we got some MikeK feedback coming up in just a bit.
All right.
Thanks,
But
Sophie.
up next, we hear from Titus from Boston.
Hello, Joanna, Stacy, and all you Survivor fans out there. I just wanted to say that when Officer Sarah walks up to Sheree and Andrea with her sirens on, I died. She deserves to win this season just on that moment alone. Clarification on Michaela and why she brings props to Tribal. If you notice, the props she took were the things that people were mad about. JT wanted to get her out because of coffee, so she brought coffee. They wanted to get her out because of coconut, so she brought coconut. Hope that clears it up. Ciao. Thanks, Titus. I thought she was actually having tea because of tea with Michaela B. And that it was the sugar thing, but I like how you put that together. Good deal. Next up, we got a call from Parker. Let's see what he's excited about this week.
Hey, it's Park from Indiana. This was a good episode, but it wasn't spectacular. Most of the episodes this season have been pretty good, and this one was all right. It had an exciting finish, but I don't know, the episode as a whole wasn't very exciting. Other than that reward, that is a great reward. Pre-merge rewards this season have kind of been like, but the post-merge rewards are fantastic. That's all I have to say that isn't about Tribal. In this episode, and really the whole season, we've learned a valuable lesson. Don't play back-to-back. Since Zeke didn't see a season, he went back to how he played and how he got himself voted off the first time. And then Michaela, I don't know what her deal is, but yeah, don't play back-to-back. We've been saying this all the time, but I think this might be earlier of an exit than the first time Zeke went out. Can't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure it's earlier. And so I think it's just a valuable lesson. If they tell you to go back-to-back, of course you're going to be like, oh my gosh, am I not getting another chance to play this game again? I need to come back now. But sometimes you just got to take a step back. It's in the moment, so you're just like, oh, yes, obviously I want to come back. You gotta take a step back and be like, wait a minute, if they're asking me to come back-to-back, then if I say no, of course, I'm going to get on a season in the future. If they like me that much to get me to play back-to-back, they're going to call me again and ask me to play in another All-Star season. That's just how it works. So you gotta think before you speak. Calm down and then make up your mind. I'm sad to see Zeke go, but I think it's a good move because he would have won if he would have made it to the end. What's with all the tie votes? I didn't understand that. Interesting. Everybody who voted for Zeke, I'm pretty sure, was a female. So maybe we'll get an all-female alliance with, oh my goodness, that'd be so cool. Because, you got Sheree, Andrea, Sarah, Aubrey. It'd be great. Sarah. Sorry, Stacy, but I have a feeling Sarah's not winning. Flippers, They don't win. And Sarah's flipped from alliance to alliance. If Sarah's sitting next to Troy, then he could very well say, oh, on day whatever, she came to me, pre-merge and told me, hey, I don't want to stick with these guys. I want to make a move. So if we get an opportunity, let's do it and stuff. And obviously the jury's mad anyway, so I don't think that Sarah's winning this. I'm excited to see next episode. I love the Loved Ones Visit episode. They're some of the best. All right, see you next time.
Good deal. Thanks, Parker. So how did Zeke do in season 33 versus 34?
I think he finished 9th place last time and 10th place this time.
So he actually got worse, to Parker's point.
Yeah.
When we talked,
he didn't last quite as long.
Like Parker said, we've talked about it, and I agree. It would take a very unique individual to be able to maximize that. Michaela's doing
back-to-back.
I guess comparatively, Michaela, in some sense, she's gone much, much, much further.
Absolutely.
Her game doesn't seem to be any better, but she's gone further, and that's the thing. Whether or not you improve doesn't necessarily decide where you end up in the game. You can be very fortunate, and we'll talk more about people who have many days in the game.
I think the smartest thing she's done is listen to Sheree and just kind of back off. And like Sheree said, if you're angry, don't be angry. Don't
Get
show
unangry.
it. Yeah, get unangry. And so I think she seems to be doing pretty well with that.
From what we're shown, she's doing better.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I think that can help her game a lot.
Mm-hmm. Thanks again, Parker. Next up, we got a call from Seth.
Hi, Survivor friends. Seth from Austin, Texas, calling in. My last class of students just left, and before I start grading, I wanted to take a brief mental break and share some thoughts from this week's episode. I thought it was really brilliant how Serene and Andrea used Sierra, Brad, and Troy's in to cast votes for Ty, just in case Zeke had an idol. I thought I almost hit my prediction of Ty going home with 2 idols in his pocket. Then the Zeke vote started rolling out, and I knew it wasn't meant to be. I really needed that JSFL vote-off point. Now that Ty saw his name, I think he's going to be a little more willing to play an idol to make sure he stays safe. Andrea made this move on Zeke at the perfect time. She had immunity, and whatever repercussions happen from this can be dealt with over the next few days. I'm confused, though, as to why Sarah and Michaela did not hold their ground and find a way to keep Zeke. The opportunity was there for numbers. I guess, ultimately, Michaela did not want to betray her alliance with Sari. Last week I spoke about how I just don't appreciate Sarah's game. This week I'm going to eat my words just a bit and give her some credit. Even though she really wanted to keep Zeke, she thought it best to keep quiet and go with the flow of the current majority. Her preference to play the middle, in my mind, was going to come back to bite her, but her ability to hold back this week really shows a better understanding of the long-term effects of making moves. I think the next survivor to be voted out will be Sierra. Serene and Andrea don't need her and should probably just get rid of her while they can. They'll have to get rid of one of the 4 anyways to hold the numbers, so why not get rid of a strong player in Sierra? Make her feel that she earned her way into the alliance by voting as she was told, and then blindside her out of the game. This season to me is beginning to feel like just another returnee season of polished rookies, though. The true game changers are gone, except for Serene. Really, they should rename the season from Game Changers to Changed Gamers. The players who are left have done well to adapt their games to a higher level, but they're just still not game changers to me. Looking forward, as always, to another great episode. Hope everyone has a safe and happy week.
Oh, I like that. Changed gamers.
Right.
That works really well. And I liked that analysis. I think Jen mentions that too, that idea about throwing some votes towards Ty in case there was a tied vote, because they had Sierra, Brad, and Troy all cast votes. And I saw it more as a trust fall. It was, let's do this trust. You prove that you can be trusted by throwing these votes at Ty, and then we'll see where that takes us from there.
Yeah, but Ty's sitting on 2 idols and
That nobody knows about.
that as far as we know. And so how do you think he feels about his alliance voting for him?
I think Seth nailed it.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll find out exactly who voted for him if he'll
I
ask.
think he'll figure it out.
Yeah. But he will be very much more likely to act on it.
Or someone will tell him. He'll
Yeah.
go ask Cerise. She'll tell him.
Next up, we got an email from Kim J. in Nashville.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is my first listener feedback. Well, welcome,
Yeah.
Kim.
Good job.
I'm so excited to join in on the fun. I was an early fan of Survivor, but fell off in Palau. I started watching again, thanks to Hulu, with Blood vs. Water about 1.5 years ago, and I enjoyed it so much I got the CBS app and watched every season since.
Wow. That's a lot of Survivor
That
in 1 year.
is.
Or 1.5 years.
Last week, I got caught up on Game Changers, and now I get to contribute to the podcast I've grown to love. I'm going back and watching earlier seasons. I've watched Cook Islands, China, now Micronesia, and what a bonus to be able to go back and listen to your podcast for those seasons, too. Survivor superfan in training. Woohoo! Now on to this week. I'm bummed Zeke opted out of his interview with you guys. Doesn't he know you two ask the best questions?
Thank you.
As for his gameplay, he should have learned from Adam. Sit back and wait.
You
His
and
eagerness,
Seth are of the same mind.
Yeah.
That was Seth's advice, too.
his eagerness to change the game too early got him sent home again. Good riddance. See you again on the Villains Tribe in season 40. I'm loving the, dare we say, Women's Alliance. We even got to see a little bit of strategy talk from Michaela this week, so maybe all is not lost with her game, and at least she isn't invisible like Aubrey. Don't worry yet, Joanne. I don't think Aubrey was making a big impact at this point in Korang either. My dream winner is Cerie. I would love to see a final tribal council with her and Andrea. It's been so long since we've had a close final vote. Of course, they won't make it. They are planning the best game right now, so of course someone must make a big move and vote them off. I see the perceived biggest targets right now as Andrea, Cerie, Sierra, Brad, and Ty. That leaves Sarah, Michaela, Aubrey, and Troyzanne. Final four, maybe?
Huh.
Eventually, someone has to see what Sarah is doing and target her, right? Right now, I think she's positioning herself the best for the win. She's clearly making moves, but she's not the most obvious target, so she's got a great chance. The idols should be big moving forward, but I would die of laughter if Ty got voted out with two idols like James and China. Maybe Sierra finally leaves next week since she spills the tea about the legacy advantage. Thanks for adding me to the Facebook group and for all you do. All right. Thanks, Kim. Great feedback.
Yeah, good job. You really nailed it right out of the gate there. That's funny. She stopped watching Survivor the season we started
podcasting.
Yeah, but now she's catching up. Excellent. Next up, got a call from Barry. Barry's got an interesting theory here. Good question.
Hello, Survivor fans. Hello, Joanne and Stacy. This is Barry in Mississippi. First time leaving voice feedback. Up till now, I've only emailed, but got some new equipment, trying it out. My question comes about the steal a vote advantage that Sarah has. When is that announced that you have that advantage? Like just before you play it, and then which would be before you vote, I guess, and wouldn't that tip off the people who have hidden immunity idols that it might be a good time to play your idol, especially if you've got an inkling that Sarah's vote might come around to you, especially maybe let's say she stole your vote. And wouldn't that then kind of make that advantage not so much of an advantage because it kind of tips off any idol holders that a vote might be coming their way? Just was pondering that, wondered how that was going to work out. Wonder what your thoughts on that were. Thank you for all you do. Love the community that you've created. Greatly enhances my enjoyment of Survivor. Thank you. Have a great week.
Good job on your audio there, Barry. You did excellent, and I like how you're thinking, and you're thinking multiple moves ahead. That was a great question. So I went back to that episode where she got the secret advantage to see what it said on the paper, and to answer your question, and you had it figured out, it says wait until it's your turn to vote, then announce to Jeff that you will use your advantage. You will select one tribe member whose vote you will steal. This person will not cast a vote, and instead you will cast two votes. You'll cast your second vote using this piece of paper. So, yeah, like Barry's saying.
Well, what if everybody's already voted before her?
They'll take it out.
Mm-hmm.
That person's vote. It doesn't say that specifically, but that's got to be what the answer is. That person's vote will not count. It will be removed.
Okay. So
I liked what Barry was asking. He was saying, yeah if you steal that, let's just do the obvious one. Let's say Sarah steals Ty's vote, and now she's tipped her hand, and Ty's going to go, before the votes are read.
You then. I will play my idol.
Exactly. So that'll undo that plan that was most likely to get rid of Ty.
Well, it doesn't necessarily mean that. It just means she thinks she knows who he's voting for, and she's going to not let him.
Could be, but you got to think what Barry's hitting on is the most likely scenario. You're going to take it away from the person you're targeting, thinking that you've completely taken them out of the loop, but Ty's got a surprise waiting for you.
Mm-hmm.
But, you're gone.
Yeah, you would think that would be best after, that
would be a really exciting sequence of events. They
still ask for it before, Jeff reads the votes.
Right.
So, yeah, that should be impactful.
Yes.
Shall we say.
Yeah, I like how Barry's thinking. Good job, Barry. Not only on your theory, but on getting the audio in. You're doing great. Next up, got a call from Drew.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. Hey, everyone. This is Drew. I am talking fast because I am cutting it too close on the deadline this week. I totally forgot. Anyway, some quick feedback because I did want to get something in. Kids are napping. Another great episode. Great blindside. I just love how things are mixing up this season and how people are changing things. I think Andrea I still don't think she's a great player, but I think she's making moves, and so it's fun to see. I'm just going to be really quick this week. I never expected Zeke to go, but I was not disappointed. Sorry you couldn't get an interview. I'm sure you had some great questions planned. I'll just answer one of your questions you had on the website. Which 3 would I most enjoy winning? I think I would like to see Brad win. I would like to see Aubrey play a little bit more, but once she does, then I wouldn't mind seeing her win. And Suri, I think that Suri would be kind of fitting, played this many times, and then see her finally win. I think that would be nice, but I wouldn't mind Troy either. I don't know why. It's not like he's done a ton, but winner of the week, I'm going to give it to Andrea because she actually pulled it off, and I couldn't believe it. Loser of the week, got to give it to Zeke. Same problems as last time, just a little bit too confident, made some smart moves, but couldn't quite get it together at the end and didn't see it coming. So talk to you all next week. Have a great weekend. Oh, and by the way, I did tell Julie about my dream that featured Sarah, but she's used to my crazy dreams by now, and actually she's had enough of her own Captain America dreams that I think it just kind of balances out. Not like it was a nice dream or anything, it was just really weird. Okay, bye.
Cool. Thanks, Drew. Enjoyed that. Next up, we got an email from Josh, the Plush Moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanne and Stacy, even though they're hitting us over the head with the Game Changers theme, I can't help feeling that I've seen most of this before. The bubbling gumbo of twists, advantages, and idols the producers are brewing can't disguise the fact, like the fable of the scorpion and the frog, people have fundamental natures. These natures come to the forefront when they're starving, exhausted, and surrounded by people who may not have their best interests at heart. And a Snickers bar or the odd reward meal won't change that. Like Zeke's Everest analogy, it gets harder to fight this nature the longer you're in the game. The whole doing the same thing and expecting different results theory comes into play too. So to paraphrase the show's intro recently on Survivor Deja Vu, Ozzy tried to buy his way into range of an immunity run with fish. Debbie got arrogant post-merge and talked people into changing her status from desirable goat to target. At Final 10, Zeke faced off against another strategic player who talked about Zeke amassing an army soon after Zeke went home. Ty relied on a strong alliance and hidden idols to keep paranoia at bay, but his allies eventually turned against him. Sarah's in the swing vote position between two alliances seeking to be courted. Michaela wants to win challenges and concoct a firm strategy to get a group to Final 5. This week's other observations. I'm hoping that Rhonda's feedback will mention the name of the beautiful bird they showed during the reward. I love the music this season. It fits the nautical castaway set design theme beautifully. It has been spectacular. I laughed when Officer Sarah described her advantage as backup. Choosy mothers choose Jif. Strategic players target Zeke. Michaela crying at Zeke's ouster may have her more relatable going forward. Andrea's tribal speech about pagonging showed how out of touch she is with recent seasons. Foreshadowing and bonus clips, Cherie to get double idled, Sierra to will legacy to Sarah. Sarah flips and expects no consequences. Will she start speaking llama next? Next time, Sierra tells Sarah about her legacy advantage, and it's time for loved ones. Will there be a twist? Is water wet? Anyway, that's all I have for now. Thanks, Joanne and Stacy, for all you do. I can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Thank you, Josh. Fantastic as always. Next up, we got a call from Kenny.
Hey, guys. It's Kenny from Dallas. Well, there goes my USB. I enjoyed seeing Zeke play, but I think, frankly, his fate was set when he was outed by Varner because I think he would have been a very, maybe easy winner if he made the final 3 because he had a tremendous, compelling story. So I could see the rationale of voting him out. Plus, the other survivors seemed to think he was very wise in the game. Suri alluded to that. And I know Zeke did show some insight when he talked about who he wanted to take with him to the finals. But aside from that, how did the other survivors know he was so wise in the game of Survivor? He hadn't seen his game before. He must have shared some other stuff with him in that respect. I'm sorry to see Zeke go. So who is left that may have a chance? Well, I don't think Michaela has a chance. I don't think Troyzan has a chance. Aubrey should have had a chance, but we really haven't seen much from her this season. I'd like her to do something, but we did see recently some influence upon Sarah, but I just haven't seen a lot from her. Sarah, we've seen the game a lot through her eyes, and she's getting a very big edit. The question is there a winner's edit or not? Who knows? Her flipping back and forth, it makes me wonder if she's going to be the new version of Will, the young kid who flipped around so much he was voted out on his own. I think it was last season. And I'm wondering if Sarah is like that. Plus, if Sarah really did tell Debbie that she swore against the life of her kid, I'm not on board with that at all. I think it's bad karma to do something like that. Of course, Debbie could have made it up. Debbie is a lunatic. Debbie shows she's really gotten over being voted out with her comment at the last tribal council. Poor Debbie. I think that the rest of the players may have some kind of a chance. Boy, I want to see Sari win the game. I think Andrea did show some gameplay. I think she's been an overrated player over the years, but I think she did show something in getting a strong player out. Ty, sooner or later, is going to play his idols, and I think it's going to wreak havoc upon the game. Very concerned what he might do with his idol play, and he's going to have to play it sooner or later. The one that I'm concerned with in the edit he's getting, and the comment he made last episode with he's going to do anything it takes to win, he had his eye on the prize. I don't know if it was foreshadowing anything, but I didn't like the comment that Brad made. It made me think he might go really deep in this game. And we know the family visit is this coming week, and he's going to reunite with Monica, and Monica's going to urge him on to win. And I don't know. He's a plaintiff lawyer, so against him. I don't know who. There's no clear winner right now. And that makes this, I think, a very interesting season. All right, guys, take care.
It does. I think it's at the root of why it's going to be. I expect it to be exciting all the way through. You don't necessarily have the top tier players, with the exception of Sari, but it is going to be exciting as things continue to change. And I also think that's why they're not going to necessarily punish people for behaviors that typically get punished or get you booted out of the game. So I don't know that it'll necessarily be held against Sarah that she's flipping. I'm not saying that just because she's my USB, but because we're seeing how things are.
USB.
Yeah, my 5-point USB, all 5 points. We're seeing how things are being perceived a little differently this time, and I think you really hit on it there, Kenny. We were shown it last season, and then there were some extra clips with Hannah talking about Zeke, and he really seems to need to be seen as this huge strategic threat. And so he kind of went out of his way to let them know how much he knew about Survivor and how skillful he was. And like Sari was talking about, he was saying
he knows more about Survivor than her, and she's played 4 times.
Yeah, that's why he's
not
going to win.
Yeah, I don't know why you'd let that knowledge out, because it usually does not serve.
Because you're working some other thing, which may be feeding your ego. You just need to be perceived that way, or I don't know. I'm trying to read between the lines there, because it's almost like he self-sabotages.
Yeah, it's a little confusing.
And he had, obviously, like everyone said, the threat was he had the story to win.
Yeah.
So that's all
true.
you need to know to make your decision. But the reason he's probably not ever, I just go out and predict, he's not ever going to win. And he probably will get to play again, because unless he's able to change that behavior, that need to be perceived that way, or that need to overshare. And actually, it's out there now. So that's going to kind of stick onto him, that's his thing. He's a Survivor superfan expert with total recall of all these facets of the game. Yeah, who wants to play with that person?
Exactly.
Thanks, Kenny. Next up, we got a call from MikeK. MikeK's back.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy and all the fans. This is MikeK from SoCal. Sorry I haven't been leaving feedback, and I'm really bummed that Zeke decided to limit his interviews and didn't do yours. I always enjoy your interviews the best. And by the way, I think I would give Zeke credit for saying the title, Reinventing How This Game Is Played, as he's the one that shouted it out for his blue team. And from the bonus clips, we learned the blue team has won every reward challenge. In the tile stacking immunity challenge, I think the biggest advantage is to have smaller feet, which doom Brad, and also not wear shoes. Both Sari and Michaela were wearing shoes, but everyone else was barefooted. And mostly I'm leaving feedback to defend my USB 24 Andrea. As you have repeatedly said, besides Sari, there are no legends left, or that all the big threats except Sari have been voted out. I'd pick Andrea as my USB 24 for Caramoan, too, as I thought she's the entire package, social, physical, and strategic. Tomorrow, day 30 on the show, Andrea will have played 100 days, and there are only 7 players who have ever played 100 days, and 4 of those players, Ozzy, Boston Rob, Sari, and Rupert, have played 4 times. The only 3-time players on that list with more days played than Andrea are Parvati and Amanda, and Andrea can pass Amanda if she makes it to day 39. Also, Andrea's won 4 immunity challenges in her Survivor history, far more than anyone else remaining. The next closest are Ty and Troyzan with 2 immunity challenge wins in their Survivor history. Having said that, I had to give up Andrea as my USB 24 and went with Sarah as my USB 10 because Andrea is the biggest threat left in the game, and I fear she'll be voted out soon. She let her emotions over Zeke's betrayal hurt her gameplay. Andrea and Zeke were friends before Zeke went on Survivor the first time. They both played Survivor Brooklyn together, and Andrea won, and Zeke voted for her to win, but also Andrea voted out Zeke. And Andrea played Big Brother Brooklyn, which Zeke hosted. So they were good friends before Survivor, and so Zeke's betrayal really hurt far more than if he was just a stranger from season 33. Oh, that last scene of the episode with Haley calling them game changers and Debbie replying, idiots. That was hilarious. By the way, are you guys coming to the finale? I sure hope so. Thanks for all you do, Mike K. from SoCal.
Thanks, Mike. See, I loved your comparison. I'm going to go back to your, these are the reasons why Amanda's great. You referenced Amanda.
Andrea is great.
What did I say?
Amanda.
Oh, because I wanted to talk about Amanda, right? This is another player who has all those days, like you said, and yet she's not thought of as a great Survivor player.
I do. I always have.
Do you think of her as...
I think of her as a good player. She just can't finish.
Right. Okay. Do you think she's like a top-tier player?
Right underneath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's certainly done things to get herself there, and we've had other Amanda references in the feedback show this week.
Still respect her gameplay very much. I just, and I haven't changed my mind, though. I think those are great stats, Mike, and you're right. She's got the days, she's got the gameplay, she's got it all.
The days don't mean anything was the point I was trying to make.
Oh, well, it does to some people, but to me, I just don't think of her as a legend. Like Sari and Ozzy and...
You skipped over the part how she got voted out with an idol.
Okay.
There is that.
She still got the days in the game, and she...
Well, she got days, but...
I've always said she's a good player.
What do you think when someone says, we have a combined 200 years of experience on these type of projects?
Yeah, okay.
Right? That's a goofy thing people say. I don't know. I like that he defended her. And
I
that
do
he
too.
was cold and pragmatic and turned his heart off. I'm sure it would make Michaela proud and switch to Sarah, my girl Sarah.
It's good to hear from you, Mike.
Yeah, I enjoyed all that. Oh, no, we're not going to be at the finale.
Yeah, I've already emailed him.
Okay. Unfortunately, it did not work out again. Next up, we got an email from Jack in California.
Hi, Survivor fans. I don't have a lot to say about this past episode, so I'm going to make this short. First thing is that the title of the episode came from a puzzle. Was this the first time that has happened? I know that every season has puzzles, but I don't know if the puzzle itself was the episode title before.
I thought it was the first time. It struck me.
Yeah, I thought so too.
There have been so many, I don't know for sure. But
also, I still really like Sarah because of her attention to detail, and I hope she makes it to the final. Don't know if that's what's going to happen, though. Why would she out herself for flipping alliances? I know it's a game of strategy, but this was the move I'm questioning. What do you guys think? Take care. All right, thanks, Jack.
yeah, thanks, Jack. Well, it was about ownership and getting credit.
Yeah, I think we talked about that a little bit after
Yeah.
it happened, but that's totally what it was. She wanted credit for it.
I don't think it hurt her. I can't see that it hurt her yet.
It hasn't yet. Seemingly.
There's so many people in the feedback show this week talking about the flip-flopper Sarah. So maybe that's a reflection of what may be building, but because they have changed the game of this season of Game Changers in so many different ways, and people are acting differently, and like we said, the big threats, the big guns are all gone except for Sari. Maybe it won't.
Yeah, I find it kind of amazing that either side trusts her, but they don't have a lot of options right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so they have to put trust somewhere.
Yeah.
And it may bite them and it may not, but if they don't have other options.
And she's not the only one that's flipping around and working to save herself.
No,
that vote for
not
Ty.
at all.
We'll go back to that just this week, right?
Yep.
Sierra, Brad, Troy, they didn't seem to hesitate to drop one on Ty.
Unless one of the others flip over to their side, that could hurt them.
But we were just saying we didn't think it was hurting Sarah. Why would it
Not
hurt
Sarah.
them?
Because Ty has been completely loyal to them, but Cerie's been talking to Ty. He might decide
They've
to
had a lot of heart-to-hearts.
He might decide to go with Cerie.
Yeah.
That he could trust her better than those guys he thought he could trust.
Well, we did see him sitting in the water.
And he kept
And it was
saying,
a
"I
different
think
group of
I'm
people he was
I think
sitting
I'm on the
with."
bottom.
Yeah.
I think I'm on the bottom."
Nobody's talking to me. Good deal. Thanks, Jack. Next up, we got a quick one from Joel.
Good morning, Joanne and Stacy. It's Joel from Tampa. The reward challenge, all I see is food sitting out in hot weather with no ice, and it always gives me the creeps. And also, do they get to shower before they get into these beds? I don't know if any of y'all have been to bed right after coming back from the beach, but having all that sand in the sheets and the clothes looked as dirty as they did when they left for the reward, so I guess they don't get to clean their clothes or anything. I would think that'd be the best part of the reward. And it is a shame that Zeke left. I just wish we'd get to the part where people were rewarded for the best game and not, oh, he already has money, oh, he needs money, oh, his life has been interesting. If they could just reward the person who played the best game. And then on a side note, Becca, I was listening to Liam the other night, and he was really on. He was really very enthusiastic and, really speaking well. I hope you're keeping some of those sound bites, because I think it'll be really cute in a couple years to look back and listen to how cute he was. Everyone have a great night.
Thanks, Joel. I hear that sand after being at the beach is really good for bug bites. If you just get in the bed and swish your legs around.
Yeah, you're never getting in the bed with sand. So you can forget that. But they commented when they came back how clean Brad looked.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they probably did get to shower.
Yeah, well, he was asking if they got to wash their clothes.
Well, they probably could have, but I don't know what good. They might have washed them. They just didn't look any different.
That might be that's
They're all
true.
stained
huh?
up now, and
yeah, especially with the paint,
permanent.
the dye, and
that
some of them
colored water. Yeah, Sierra's
Yeah.
shirt's permanently that way, I think. So
Good deal. Thanks, Joel. Next up, we've got audio from Jeremiah.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy. Hello, Survivor fans. This is Jeremiah Panhorse here from Southern California to discuss a few thoughts about a pretty good episode. Of course, I hated to see my man Zeke go home, but I have to admit, it probably was a pretty smart move. And I know that's been the question a lot of people have had. But I think in an all-returning season, you got to take that shot at someone like that as soon as you possibly can. So I think it was a smart move. Cerie's edits so far this season, what do you guys think? She's definitely been getting the really good positive winners type like edit more recently, and I'm wondering though, is it just a little bit too late, or could possibly Cerie win this game? I know I've been saying Brad or Sarah more recently as going to be one of our winners, but I'm just holding out hope that Cerie could be the one. I do think her bond with Sarah is very interesting, and I thought it was quite a fascinating decision by Sarah to share the fact that she had the extra vote. Thought that was quite fascinating. What do you guys think about that decision that Sarah made? I do wonder, though, Sarah said that she was going to use that to get rid of Zeke. Well, since Zeke is gone now, what if Sarah uses that extra vote to get rid of Cerie later on? Ooh, that could be something, right? And as far as next time on Survivor is concerned, it's kind of hard to say what will happen. I do kind of think maybe Sarah probably will maybe switch back with Brad's side to maybe get rid of maybe someone like Andrea. So I think Andrea's high on my list of potentially people to go home next week. But, it could be Sierra Dunn Thomas, could be Brad, it could be one of those people on that side. Probably not Ty since he has an idol. Maybe Michaela. I think I'm leaning towards either Andrea, Sierra Dawn Thomas, or Michaela going home next week. That's kind of where I sit at the moment. And no, Stacy, I have not been missing out on my feedback, so I didn't have to talk about my complete huge blunder about not picking a new USB, which of course, if I do lose by 5 points, you can make fun of me dramatically in the side challenge. But I've had pretty good luck this season. This week I forgot to make my picks for for JSFL, but yet I still got a vote-off pick because I had Zeke going home last week. So who knows? Maybe I will still win this side challenge after all. And I'd also, to close out, I wanted to thank everyone for being so active on the Facebook group. As someone who monitors the Facebook group, which, by the way, if you ever have troubles on the Facebook group, just message me right away. But I just wanted to thank everyone for all the great conversation we've had. And even when we've had touchy subjects, I liked how everyone was very nice and not mean and didn't have to cause me to remove someone from the group. So thank you, everybody. Keep it up, and I can't wait to hear what everybody else has to say about the episode. So until next time, this is Jeremiah from Southern California.
Thanks,
right.
Jeremiah. You do a great job there, too.
We appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremiah stepped up and volunteered.
So, yeah, I agree. Sari and Sarah have gotten the most, I guess, positive. They're more full-fledged people types of edits. They've got these different facets to them. They're complex. There are these changes that have happened to both of them. So they're kind of neck and neck if you look at the edit and how they're being portrayed in that regard. I don't think anyone is, maybe a distant third is Brad.
I think Sari reads Sarah really well. Mm-hmm. And she knows where her sensitive areas are and all of that. But I think Sarah really does respect Sari's input, whether she takes it or not.
Right.
She listens.
Mm-hmm.
And they do seem to have a pretty good working relationship, but they're both very well aware that they will go wherever the opportunity is for them. Mm-hmm. And they all seem to be okay with that. It's like, well, okay. Everybody has to make up their own mind. Do I like it? No. But it is what it is.
That's why I'm saying they're behaving differently. So we can't expect the same kind of results from the jury this time, I don't think.
I thought it was a mistake to tell Sari or anyone else. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, that's what Sarah felt she needed to do.
Yeah. Next up, we got email from James in Charleston. Hey, guys, let me start by saying that last week I had a hard time deciding which I liked least. Crazy yelling Debbie when she's not in charge, or big-headed Debbie when she has control. Well, let me tell you, this episode answered that for me. The Debbie I like the least is sore loser Debbie. I spend more time in these episodes talking to Shannon about how mature people act and not to emulate Debbie than we do talking about strategy. But hey, she's getting plenty of camera time, so I guess it's paying off for her. So that's great. Thanks for sharing that. This was a crazy episode. I went into it thinking that the original Power Alliance would pull some of the fringe players back over and retake control of the game, and it sure did look like that could happen. It was good to see our USB Michaela talking strategy and realizing the threat of not continuing to reduce the other side's numbers, plus with Sarah talking about riding the middle and picking the winning side. Hasn't Survivor history typically been unkind to this strategy? Yes, it has. And Zeke openly man-crushing in front of his own people, it looked like there was a strong chance it could happen. So this reward challenge, I just don't think it plays out as well as it should. The physical part is just tough, and it's exciting. Then they take what seems like days to solve the puzzle, and it's just anticlimactic. Basically, it comes down to who pays enough attention to Jeff and picks up the clues he's dropping. I'm good with either half, just not together. And Zeke, man, what is he doing? Was this not a direct deja vu of his game last season? You nailed it. Sure, he voted off his man crush last time, but this time it cost him. I felt like I was watching old episodes of Survivor. If he gets invited back for a third season, hopefully there won't be a college football fan there to derail him. Kudos to Brad for finding that crack and blowing up his game. That was difficult for me to say. Well, as usual, I don't have notes and I'm up against a hard deadline, so I'll finish this with the thought that from the top to the bottom, the quality of this cast seems better than most, and the edit is doing a pretty good job of featuring the gameplay. Can't wait to see the next episode and what secrets await us until next time. Thanks, James. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Jen.
Hi everyone, this is Jen in California. Well, I'm not too sure how I like this whole Sarah flip-flopping thing going on. I think that someone who plays the middle effectively has to have a lot of skill at managing people and controlling perception. And by perception, I mean how other people view the moves. I think it's really risky when somebody flips, because there are two ways that others can look at the move. They can look at the flipper as somebody who takes control, or they can look at them as somebody who is being controlled. And I'm just not certain that Sarah is effectively managing perception such that she is going to get credit for these moves that she is making. If she's sitting there in the end with Sari will take credit and probably get credit for all of these flip moves, or at least for the one that got Debbie out and for the move that essentially kept Sarah with them and saw her vote out her closest ally in Zeke. So Andrea had a big part in the decision-making process this week. And just in considering Andrea, which I don't typically do, she's not somebody that really stands out to me. And I think that's kind of the problem. I just can't get enthusiastic about her as a player. Somebody out there in Survivor Land loves Andrea. But really, all of those who played in the Redemption Island season with Boston Rob, I just have a hard time feeling enthusiastic for them. And Andrea's no different. They just let him run that game and control that game. And she was just a part of that. I just still have such a bad taste in my mouth for that season. And I guess Andrea as a player is always going to have that against her, from my perspective. As far as how the votes went down at Tribal Council, I was really fascinated by who got votes and who voted for whom this time. I really was shocked that Ty got votes. And my question was, why did they deceive the people in the minority into voting for Ty and for Ty to vote for Sierra? I initially didn't understand why that happened, but I guess they felt that that had to happen just to ensure that there was not going to be a tie vote, because that might have been disastrous. So by splitting up all those votes, they ensured that they were going to have the numbers to vote Zeke out and not be contested with any sort of a tie and have to go to rocks. Anyway, that's it for me. I'm enjoying watching Sari manipulate a little. I'm enjoying seeing how she's keeping herself in the game. Can't wait to hear what everyone else has to say. Till next week. Bye.
Thanks, Jen. Yeah, that worked on so many levels, didn't it? Having a vote for Ty. Prove that we can trust you. Work against your own alliance. So undo whatever bond the four had together.
Yep.
And cover the tie to vote.
Yeah, I agree. That was, I'm not sure who requested that or how they got them all to vote for Ty, but that was great.
That was a very sophisticated play. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Have to run that one down for sure. Thanks again, Jen. Next up, we got a quick call from Paul.
Hey, this is Paul, Louisiana here. I am calling from the other end of Louisiana. I'm at a show this week, so this is going to be really quick. We're just going to start with Michaela, who really impressed me this week because she's not a robot. She showed emotion. You know what? Had she done that earlier, I think that things would be going better for her this season. I hope she can keep acting human because I really did like seeing this side of her. Andrea and Zeke, you know what? These two are so against each other right now. Well, I guess they were against each other now that one of them's gone, that it screwed up both their gameplay. I can't say that it was good for either of them. You shouldn't be fighting when you're on the same alliance. It's just bad timing to vote out Zeke right now. I think this was a huge mistake. And I would normally say this is bad for Andrea. But then in the previews, we see Sarah and Sierra talking, and for some unknown reason, Sierra is telling Sarah that she's got an advantage. Now, why she would share that with somebody who flipped on her once before is beyond me. But then we see Sarah saying that this is too much power for Sierra. These two names are hard for me to say. I have to think before I say every one of them. We've got Sarah and Sierra, and I just don't understand it. I don't see why she would tell her that. Luckily, Sarah realizes the problem here, and because of that, I am still sticking with my original pick and saying that Sierra is the one who goes this week. I guess that's about it for me. It would be longer. I had more to say, but I'm a little pressed for time here. So everybody take care. I'll talk to you all again next week. Bye.
Good deal. Thanks, Paul. Thanks for making that extra effort. Enjoyed that.
Okay, Paul. Say Sarah Sierra Suri, Sarah Sierra Suri, Sarah Sierra Suri.
You're mean.
Stacy has trouble with that too.
I do. Yes, I do.
Yeah, and it is more difficult. At least the other Sierra.
I think
Sierra there.
Yes, I think Sierra's desperate. That was like the first thing that popped in my head. It's the only thing I've come up with so far. She's just desperate for another play now that her tight six and because they probably did force them to turn on each other. And we could see those cracks. It's like their alliance has crumbled between those core four.
If she's got nowhere to go, then to me, I think I said that in the recap show, I would want to vote her out quicker because of that. So she couldn't use it.
Right.
So, I don't know that it helped her.
Shares hers?
Sarah
shares hers. I think I said it right.
No, you didn't. It's on tape.
Okay.
Okay.
Tape. All right, 70s girl.
Okay. It's always going to be tape for me. I've told you that. Just accept it and move on.
Yes.
Okay. It's recorded, I know. But it's still taped to me.
All right.
Okay. But I don't know what I was saying now. So
yeah, I like how that worked.
You distracted me.
It's my fault. Yes. I think we can all hear how that sequence of events work. Do you think Sarah will share her secret advantage in return? Will there be a quid pro quo between her and Sierra?
No. Absolutely not.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I was surprised she shared it with Serena.
Only if the reason, so if the reason is they're both desperate, that they both feel like they're on the outside now somehow.
Yeah, I don't think Sarah would.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, but that's the only way I could see it. Wow, I like this week. This was great. Lots of highlighting the flip-flopping, and I'm still coming away from that thinking I'm not sure it's hurting her. I'm just not, because everybody's having to adapt to all these changes, and I think Zeke said it best, is that everything reshuffles after every tribal.
Yeah, I think so too, and I really have no clue how this is going to play out. And the crazy part is there's only 2 more episodes before the finale, and I looked on the TV Guide thing to see if there were any 2 hours. There's not.
Okay.
Doesn't mean they couldn't do double eliminations.
Right.
They could have 2 immunity challenges.
Done that before. Yeah.
They've done that before, but I'm thinking if they don't, they're going into the finale with 7. So I don't know what else
I really
is
hope
coming.
they don't do, because we don't get to see a whole lot.
Yeah, and then we get them grouped together,
it's just they have to do too many challenges. It's like the finale ends up being challenges instead of getting to see how the social dynamics play out as they get closer and closer to the top.
Yeah, that we'll see. There's only 2 weeks to.
Yeah.
If they go in with 5, they got
family visit's going to be a big part of this week.
Yeah, so I don't think there'll be a double elimination this week for sure. There's no indication of that, and so
unless Brad decides that he just can't go on without Monica, and he opts to leave the game,
and that he doesn't see how he can win, so he's just going to leave. But I don't believe he'll do that. I don't think Monica would let him do that. She's going to tell him to get back in there and win this thing.
Yes.
And so it may do him a world of good.
I'm really looking forward to seeing the family advantage and the dynamics.
If I were one of those 5 girls that were aligned at the end of the last tribal council, I would not let him near her, even though they have sympathy and understand how much he misses her. I would so not let him near her. They have to pretend
they have compassion. But then do a Michaela
I think they actually
and turn the heart off.
But just turn the heart off and go, sorry, she could really, she could help you, and we're not going to let you be with anyone that's going to help you strategize. So I would certainly think of that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would try to factor it in, yes.
I mean, the other people could
You just got to factor in what
them.
If someone does that to you, and how are you going to feel? The whole do unto others thing.
Yeah, but
Could
still,
you manage it?
There's none of the others' family that have played. That's the difference.
Right.
Monica's played
So she could be an
and
asset.
multiple times.
You
so
could go on the reward with her.
Yeah, she could be an asset to Brad. You can guarantee she's not going to be
Not
an asset
giving
to anyone
other-
else.
But that's her nature.
Yes.
She's nurturing and caring of all.
She won't do that this time. She'll
Right.
nurture Brad.
Hey, we want to say a big thanks to everybody who took time to send in their thoughts and predictions. This was a great one. Good job. Also want to say a special thanks to Catherine, Christy, and Kim for your donations. We greatly appreciate it. Remember to answer that listener reward bonus question.
Yep, I went in and re-answered mine just in case.
All right, that's the way to make doubly sure.
Hit it again.
Okay.
Because you can change it as many times until the deadline.
Okay.
But don't forget to do it before the deadline on Wednesday.
Get those picks in.
Anything else?
Nope.
Well, you guys have a great week. See you back here on Wednesday.